Well, Nike is sending a message to the NFL by making Colin Kaepernick the face of its Just Do It campaign. Kaepernick was one of the first two players in the league to kneel during the national anthem in protest of police violence against people of color in the U.S. He and former 49ers Eric Reed are both currently without a job playing football. Well, the ad reads, "Believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything." Nike will also be launching a new Kaepernick branded apparel line featuring shoes, jerseys, and shirts. Well, the deal is reportedly a star-level deal worth millions of dollars. And this year, it's actually the 30th anniversary of Nike's Just Do It campaign. The first commercial featured then 80-year-old runner Walter Stack. Joining me now to discuss the impact of this ad, Washington Post political reporter Eugene Scott. Okay, Eugene, I want to talk to you. I think it's a pretty bold decision by Nike to go forward, especially in light of just days ago we heard that the Colin Kaepernick trial, he's accusing the NFL of colluding to keep him out of the game, is allowed to go forward. A judge decided that. What do you think the message is here that Nike's trying to send, and the fact that they're doing this? Are they okay that they're going to be isolating some people by doing it?
I think the message that Nike is trying to send is that Colin Kaepernick is an athlete that they have had a long relationship with and want to remain in relationship with, because he has proven that he has cultural significance and relevance beyond football, even more than a year after arguably involuntarily leaving the field. And so I think Nike is trying to communicate a message that it's not just about sports that they're currently interested in getting behind, but cultural moments and cultural messages as well.
We're seeing video of people saying they're going to burn some of their Nike paraphernalia, people on the right who don't agree with this. We also know that Nike is actually the supplier for the NFL for their uniforms until 2028. How does this ad campaign affect the relationship between these two powerful companies?
Well, I think what Nike is confident in is that their popularity and the support for their brand will be able to withstand the type of criticism they're getting from conservatives willing to cut up their socks or burn their tennis shoes out of frustration for the company getting behind the idea that racism and police brutality are problematic in America. The Nike brand, I think, believes that ultimately the side of history that they are falling on is one that's more important than their future relationship with the NFL. And perhaps they have confidence that at the end of the day, the NFL will make a decision based on the quality of the product, their long-lasting relationship, cultural moments and movements and popularity, and not the backlash from a small segment of the American population.
You know, I'm curious, though, the fact that Nike has taken this step to come forward. Do you think that, I mean, this case with Kaepernick has the potential of bringing down the entire NFL potentially? Do we know what the decision, how the decision was that Nike came to this decision to have Kaepernick as their face?
We do not know how specifically Nike decided that they wanted to use Kaepernick's face as one of the leaders in the 30th anniversary of the Just Do It campaign. But we do know that Nike has been in relationship with Kaepernick since 2011 at least, and that it's been a pleasant one. Kaepernick's jerseys have sold well, even outside of, even during this time since he's left the NFL. He remains one of the more popular NFL athletes on social media. People are following him and engaging in him at levels that people who are actually playing the sport envy. And so if Nike has a endorsement with him, they know that they can bring their brand and their product into new areas off the field and to new audiences, people who don't even watch football, that perhaps can only be done with someone like Kaepernick.
Oh, interesting. So you're saying this is strategic, that this is not an accident that they've picked him and thrown their support behind him?
There's no reason to believe that Nike's decision was anything but strategic. They really realize where society is right now politically related to these issues. And I think Nike, like many companies, are aware that many of their customers are interested in their ideological values, and at the very least want to communicate a message that what is important to their fans and supporters is also important to the brand.
It's hard to talk about this without talking about President Trump. You know, he's been highly critical of NFL players who took a knee during the national anthem. I want to play a bite for you from what he had to say a year ago.
Wouldn't you love to see one of these NFL owners, when somebody disrespects our flag, to say, get that son of a off the field right now, out, he's fired. He's fired!
There's a sector of America that buys his rhetoric. What do you think his supporters will say about this?
I think his supporters, as we've seen on so many issues over the past year related to race, continue to remain behind Donald Trump. But it's important to remember that Republicans only make up about 27% of the voting population, and Trump's base is even a smaller percentage of the Republican population. What's a much larger percentage of the marketplace, consumers we're talking about here, are people of colors, millennials, left-leaning Americans, and people that Nike actually would risk offending by affirming the idea that NFL players should be fired and used and spoken with in a profane message, as the president suggested. I'm sure Nike ran the numbers. The numbers are not on Trump's side right now.
You know, in your story, you call Nike the most powerful brand in sports. Do you think other folks will follow other large companies like Nike?
I think it's very possible. I mean, one of the reasons I called Nike the most powerful brand in sports is on another related topic. I mean, we have seen Nike really weigh in to the conversation about women and motherhood and working when it relates to Serena Williams. So it's very clear that Nike wants to be known for more than what they are able to communicate or to contribute to society on the field. And I think other brands will notice that, and we'll see that their potential fan base is much broader than individuals who follow a particular sport. There are literally people supporting Kaepernick who do not watch football at all. Any brand will want to get up behind that.
It's so interesting that you mentioned Serena Williams. I'm curious to see if the U.S. Open sees a bounce of some sort with her coming forward and talking about motherhood and the struggle of working moms.
Yeah, I think it's very possible. I mean, we've seen her do interviews where she talks about the challenges, and we've seen other young working moms who don't even follow tennis feel some type of kinship in the challenges that they have as just women trying to provide for their families and trying to be a voice in the marketplace and culture as well. I think it's just a reminder that athletes in our current context are just more than athletes. They're cultural figures, and people look to them for more than their athletic expertise.
And also just how powerful it is, your pocketbook and where you throw your money behind, that also has some sort of political currency in this world.
Yeah, I think we've seen in the last couple of years, if not before, that everything is political. And I think that's something that's not going to change moving forward as we have key politicians weighing into issues that we historically haven't seen politicians entertain in conversation, that then puts businesses and voters and other institutions in the place where they have to decide what side of history or the aisle they stand on regarding the issue.
Eugene Scott with the Washington Post. Eugene, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.